to start with an introduction to the Yoga Sutras of Pantanjali. So Yoga Sutras, this word sutras is the same word as like suture, stitches. And when we read these verses, they're kind of like verses of, if you read scriptures, kind of like that, they're numbered. But it's like one thought builds on another thought, and it's hard to take part of it out of context because it's stitched together. So I think it's cool. I like the title, the Yoga Sutras, for that purpose. So the version that I'm recommending is this one by Mukunda Styles, and the Yoga Sutras is written in Sanskrit, right? So when you read a version, it's somebody's interpretation from their understanding of Sanskrit into, in our case, English. So this book, it's not a very big book, but it has the Yoga Sutras twice in here. So let me show you the first section, just so that you understand how this book is put together. There will be introductory pages, but then it will say the Sutras of Pantanjali, and Mukunda Styles has taken this and made it kind of poetic. So I'm trying to see where that ends so I can show you how big the 4 books are all together. I think I've gone too far. Hang on, give me a second here. Okay, so here is how big the Yoga Sutras are. That is his interpretation in poetic style. Now, this is a book that my yoga teacher gave me, and that was one of the things she loved, was this poetic part. Now, the next section is called Summary of Patanjali's Yoga Sutras. And this is just a few pages long. There's like 1 page per book, and it gives, like it says, a summary. And this really helps me to have an overall view of what we're studying. For example, in the first book, the first one is Opening Aphorism. And I will tell you right now that the opening starts with the word now, ataha, now. I love that, because sometimes our brain wants to go into the past and have memories, and sometimes our brain wants to go into the future and make plans. And honestly, most of the time we are in the past or in the future. But when we are here now, we're able to focus and concentrate and find out what is real in this very moment. So ataha is the first word of the Yoga Sutras. Then it says the definition of yoga. It'll give the definition of yoga, and then number 3 and 4, the verses 3 and 4, the self in relation to consciousness. And then the next 5 through 11 verses, vacillations of the mind. So if you noticed, like, the mind has this up and down nature to it. Sometimes we're excited, sometimes we're tired, sometimes we're upset, sometimes we're happy. There's these vacillations of the mind, and it describes that state in the Yoga Sutras, verses 5 through 11, and so on. So the next 12 through 16, methods to control this vacillation. Maybe you feel like something is really wrong because I'm upset, and I sometimes realize I'm upset like the weather. If I just sit with it, the storm will pass and it will be okay. And there can be so many reasons why we might be upset, and we start to make meaning of our upsetness when it may not be necessary, and we just need to sit and wait for the storm to pass. Anyway, so that's a little preview of what we're going to study in the first week of the Yoga Sutras. So it would be really good to keep coming back to the overall view and seeing what's coming next or how it fits together. And then the next section in this book it's called transliteration. So they're taking the Sanskrit words and giving a literal translation of each of the words. So it's that long, and it will give the anglicized words in Sanskrit. So in other words, Sanskrit is written in a different alphabet, but you wouldn't know how to pronounce it. So we can look at the very first verse, Atta. Remember I said now, Yoga na sasanam. So it says Atta means now, Yoga means yoga, which is going to define, Anusasanam is instruction, orderly arrangement. That is far different than somebody saying, now we begin the teaching of yoga. When I have that broken down and I know what parts are what words, I can start to create meaning in my own mind and look for some nuances that I otherwise wouldn't be able to see. So anyway, I have these marked with the bookmarks, with my little post-it notes, so that I can kind of go back and forth between the poetic and the transliteration, and then maybe to try to get an overall view. Oh, I see, these verses kind of go together with that middle section. All right, so that is the one version of the Yoga Sutras that I'm recommending. There is another link that has, this is only for book 1 and 2, this link, and I printed it out. And again, we're going to the first one, Atta Yoga Anushashas. I'm going to try it again. Yoga Anushashanam. Anushashanam. And there are 4 different columns and 4 different people's translation of what that means. So for example, the first column says, now the exposition of yoga is being made. The second column, Edwin Bryant, now the teachings of yoga are here presented. The third column is Michael Roach. I will now review for you how we become whole. Okay, so that sounds kind of different. He doesn't even use the word yoga. And then the last column, Chip Hart-Renf, I'm not sure if I said that right. Now, the teachings on yoga. Being able to see those 4 different translations gives me, I don't know, a different flavor. All right, so I would recommend that you might want to print out this PDF so that you can study this and start to get a feel for why is this thought of as such an important book in India, and how can it become an important book to me. So enjoy your study of the Yoga Sutras.